to the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast, bringing you open and honest conversations about resources in Tuscarawas County. Now here's your host, Jody Salvo.
Hi, this is Jody Salvo for another Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. Listen, it has been a little while since we've been back with our podcast, but we were doing a neat project, the Anti-Drug Coalition, and we had some local breweries come by. The Anti-Drug Coalition supports and promotes the alcohol server knowledge trainings for Tuscarawas County. So prior to COVID, twice a year, we would invite establishments that have liquor permits in Tuscarawas County to come together. We'd bring Ohio Investigative Unit down to provide an alcohol server knowledge training course. And that course or that program, it allows establishments, liquor permit holders, servers, bartenders to receive information, just what's up to date. How do we responsibly serve? What do permits allow you to do and not do? But this year, due to COVID and not holding in-person trainings, Ohio Investigative Unit has created a new virtual training. So we had two of our great partners here in Tuscarawas County from Hoodletown and from Lockport Brewery sample the virtual training, go through it with their owners and with their staff, and just kind of see what that's like. And as we were working on the promotional video for the Ask Training, it just seemed like it would be kind of a fun podcast to talk to our local breweries who are great partners with us, and just to help residents of the county understand that we have establishments that really care about the community. They care about our youth not having access to alcohol, underage youth, checking IDs and all that kind of fun stuff. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Jess from Lockport Brewery.
Hello.
Hey Jess, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Jess, and I work at Lockport Brewery. I am the assistant general manager at Lockport. I've been there for about 3 years. I am the head of the tap room, so I make sure that I take care of everything that goes on in the tap room with our servers and our bartenders, just making sure everything runs smoothly in there.
Awesome. And next we have Hoodletown. We have Carrie Kinsey and Autumn Poland.
Hi, Jody. Thanks for having us. Autumn and I are the owners of Hoodletown. It's been open for a little over 3 years, and we thought this training was great to have for our establishment.
Wonderful.
And we appreciate the chance to let the community know what us and Lockport and other small businesses are doing to protect the community and making sure our staff is very well trained and has all the latest up-to-date information. And these trainings really help us facilitate that.
Wonderful. So for the community or those that are listening to the podcast, we had brought in Hoodletown and Lockport for a couple reasons. I think y'all have just done a great job as newer businesses in the community, really adding an added benefit to our communities. I can see y'all giving back to the communities and fundraisers, and y'all have been a very positive addition to, I think, our community businesses, and I think that's fairly evident. But I also, as the Anti-Drug Coalition, wanted people to know that we really encourage liquor permit holders to really understand the liability with serving, the importance of not serving to people under the age of 21, because that increases a chance for addiction and problems with alcohol. So when we brought y'all in to do a promo video for the Ask Training, and that's that alcohol server knowledge training, we just had some fun conversations, and I kind of just wanted people to understand that we have great businesses that might brew, might be brewers, there might be retail stores, whatever there are, but that you all do participate in trainings and staff education, really to make sure you're very responsible in the work you do. So tell us about the Ask Training that y'all participated in. Did you find that beneficial?
I found it absolutely beneficial. It was just really nice to get a nice like refresher of all of the things that the bartenders and servers should be accountable for and have knowledge of, and make sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to keep the community safe.
Awesome. So for anyone that doesn't know, the ASK training in the state of Ohio, it's an alcohol server knowledge training, which is a program through the Ohio Investigative Unit. But there's also other trainings that establishments can take part in. TIPS is one that I think other counties and across the U.S. use as well. So y'all participated in this brand new online program, and I know you've done in-person trainings before. Did you find this online training helpful?
I did. And I feel like to give this training to your staff or require this for your staff to take now, because it's online, it's not a difficult thing to ask them to do. They're not taking a time out of another job to leave to go to a training that's on a specific day at a specific time. They can do it in the convenience of their own home whenever they get the opportunity to do it. And they have that certificate at the end that they bring in to show and prove that they understood all the information and they passed it. And at that point, we'll know that they've completed the course. And it does give so much important information that every server should know, and just like you said, be reminded of the importance of
Perfect.
And there's a comfort in knowing when it's an online course, everyone is seeing the same information. Everyone, has gotten the same knowledge. And maybe in the course of training a new employee, you forget to tell them, because we're human. This touches on everything and gives us a peace of mind that they know and what the expectation is.
From the Anti-Drug Coalition, a couple of things you said just really resonate. Like in the past, it was really hard to pick dates and times for establishments because, if we knew a server or owner was open until 2 a.m., having a 9 o'clock training seemed kind of brutal. But yet some establishments are starting to serve around lunchtime and stuff. So I knew that was one of those barriers. So for us to be able to promote an online training feels good. And then the other thing that we really noticed is, I've sat in the back of the rooms when those ASK trainings in person have been provided. And the information does vary based on the trainer, how the conversation might just kind of be guided by questions. So I could see the benefit of having a very prescribed online training. So that's neat. Now, I heard you say, Jess, before that there was a lot of scenarios and...
Oh, yeah, they give you a lot of, examples, and they give you these scenarios, and you are supposed to decide what is the best decision in the scenario. It's very hands-on, it's very helpful, so they're giving you knowledge, but then they're also giving you a scenario to use this knowledge that they just gave you, which is really nice. You fully understand it when you're given these examples and these scenarios.
Mm-hmm. So I heard y'all having conversations after we kind of videoed the promotional video. And I was kind of left thinking oh my goodness, there's a lot of responsibility when you're serving, when you have an establishment. One of the things I kept hearing was tracebacks and over-serving. Does someone want to explain that and what that liability looks like on an establishment or on a server?
So there's one we're like you mentioned in the beginning, we're very community minded. So beyond the liability, there's also, we wouldn't want anything to happen to our friends, our neighbors, and someone's child, anything like that. So knowing that our staff is educated on the tracebacks and there's an awareness there that comes from saying, look, it's a liability for you. You can face jail time. You can face financial penalties if you overserve people. That's a wonderful thing as a business owner to feel like you're covered there, because there is a worry. There is a worry that, somebody doesn't understand that and just thinks, oh, okay, I can just keep serving because it's going to make my tips better. Well, that's not the case.
So, do you all run into situations where you try to stop serving? Well, you stop serving someone, and I'm assuming not everyone's going to be okay with that, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
So does the training help you on how to handle those situations, or internally have you worked to figure that one out?
We have a couple procedures at our brewery. we've said things like don't make eye contact when, to avoid that person altogether. If they keep hounding our server wanting a drink and then we, as a manager or owner, we step in and just explain to them that we can't serve them, give them water, which sometimes they're not always happy about. But yeah, it's a touchy situation, but you just try to avoid that customer after you've decided he or she doesn't need to be served.
What do y'all do for transportation? So if you've already clearly identified someone's intoxicated, is there procedures in place on not allowing someone to drive home or intervening at that level as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we've had people, I don't know about you. One, we're fortunate that it does not happen very often.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's the same for you guys.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate. And we have 2 products so you can, it's not like either of us are giving shots or anything like that. You can kind of gauge. But that being said, I've had one circumstance where I made a gentleman sit at the bar and drink water until a good long while. So you do what you have to do. But there are cabs or taxi agencies. There's very small, but there are available in our community, as small as it is.
It is small, but there are always options.
Wonderful. What other added benefits did you all receive from this training? So I heard you all talking about over-serving. How about IDs? I heard you all say stuff about IDs. So you learned stuff yourselves about the IDs during the training.
Some things about the IDs. It's super beneficial because they also let you know that you are able to collect more than just an Ohio identification. A passport is eligible, a military ID is eligible. Out of state, you can absolutely accept that. You just have to be aware of what you're looking at. And that kind of touches base on, looking at the void and the issue date, and obviously the most common one, making sure you're looking at the picture and looking at the person,
right.
Make sure it's them. Giving you, we have those new Ohio IDs right now, and people are actually getting them. And at first, when I saw one of those, I was really confused as to what I was supposed to look at. And they kind of just give you the knowledge of where the date of birth is located, and it's super educational to know all of that.
Nice. Now, I heard y'all, so speaking about, there was information about human trafficking as well?
Yes.
Yeah, and there was an awareness that was made, you don't think about it, but we are on a major highway. So just knowing that this is happening around us, one, scares the daylights out of me as a mother to a daughter, and carries the same, so definitely it's going to make us more mindful of that. And Lockport's the same way. We're conveniently both
you guys
right
are
off
both
the highway.
right off of the highway.
We have already talked about, putting some additional information in the restrooms for
it's a great idea.
Women in particular. So just trying to keep people safe.
Wonderful. What else? Anything else you learned from the training that you found was helpful?
I know there was so much at the end.
Yeah.
What was that?
I had no idea. I thought you could still smoke at 18.
Oh, okay. So it has tobacco information as well.
Change?
That's another reason why this is so good for not just us brewers, but for retailers and convenience stores. There's information across the whole entire board about what you need to know and the procedures and changes of when you can consume things. It's very beneficial to anybody in this community.
Wonderful. Well, you know what, guys? I'm really glad you all came today. I'm glad that you promoted the new alcohol server knowledge training here in Ohio and for Tuscarawas County. And I also want our listeners just to understand, the Anti-Drug Coalition does a lot of different work, and this is one that we probably don't talk about a lot. I mean, it's one that just kind of is a project that we do that is then pumped out to the license holders within our county, and we have over 500 license holders, permit holders. So, that is a service that we do for a couple reasons. Clearly, to keep our community safe. To really protect our young people, to help people understand just issues around alcohol as well. And so I really appreciate y'all coming, even pointing out that this training is very important for convenience stores and drive-throughs and just retail stores. So that's helpful just to even kind of have some conversations around that. I also wanted to thank you both, your businesses, because again, it is obvious that y'all have been great community partners. So thank you for participating. That was really a pilot online training. Y'all were one of the first to do that. I don't even know if it's on Ohio Investigative's website yet, the link. So you guys are very on the front line of taking the training. So we'll probably send this back to Ohio Investigative so they can kind of hear the feedback, because clearly I can tell y'all have learned something and found that beneficial. So I just want to thank y'all. And if you guys want, we have these little Anti-Drug Coalition window clings just to say that y'all are a partner and work with us. So we'd love to give those to you as well. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. Please follow us on Facebook and visit our website at adctusk.org.